Hi, my name is Jerry, I'm a fantasy author, and this video is a continuation of my series about the realities of being a self-published author. Now, having covered some of the more general abstract topics in the previous episodes, I want to focus a bit on the technical practicalities that might be a bit more on the mundane side, but are nonetheless very relevant. And one of them is the mysterious ISBN. This is a question I have seen come up time and time again on various author forums, and people always seem to be a little intimidated by it, which is honestly understandable. Up until this point, the process has mostly just been you dabbling in your little hobby, but getting an ISBN is serious official business, and I can't really blame people for being concerned that they get something wrong. So today, I'm here to give you a comprehensive deep dive into the what, when, and how of ISBN, meaning what it is, when you need to get one or several, and how you go about doing that. So without further ado, let's get into it. The what is fairly straightforward. ISBN stands for International Standard Book Number and is generally understood to be a sort of globally unique serial number for a certain book by a certain author. The confusion begins when you notice that you can find the same book by the same author under any number of different ISBNs, and it's not just a matter of different formats. If you look hard enough, you can find seemingly different editions with the same ISBN or seemingly identical editions with different ISBNs. The first step to making sense of all of this is understanding that a book's ISBN is the same as its barcode. You can check this for yourself right now. Just take any random book off of your shelf, and as long as it was printed after 2007, you can check the ISBN on the verso page and the barcode on the back, and the digits will match exactly. And the reason this is important is because this can help you understand much more intuitively that two editions of the same book require different ISBNs if they qualify as different products, or more precisely as different storekeeping units or SKUs, which are entries in a store's inventory. This will be relevant later. So, armed with this knowledge, we can now go into the question of when you need to get an ISBN. The first one being, do you even need to get an ISBN at all? Knowing that this question is synonymous with, does your book need a barcode, the effective question here is, are you planning to sell your book through third-party retailers? As an example, this book is a compilation of poems and memoirs written by homeless people in Stockholm. It was put together and printed by a local charity, who then gave out the copies to the homeless people so they can sell it as a source of income. This book does not have an ISBN and consequently does not have a barcode because it was never meant to be sold in stores. ISBN is not a legal concept. You are not required by law to get one for your book, and getting one doesn't grant your book any kind of legal status or protection. It is solely to be used by retailers and libraries who need to catalog their stock. Question number 2. How many different ISBNs do you need for different formats? Well, I think we can agree that ebooks, prints, and audiobooks are all very different products, and therefore they require different barcodes and different ISBNs. But even going beyond that, if you've ever gone book shopping, then I'm sure you've noticed that paperback and hardcover editions of the same book are sold at very different price points, which is an indicator that these are also different storekeeping units and therefore different ISBNs. And just to be absolutely clear, this is not a matter of pricing. So even if you personally decide to sell your paperback and hardcover versions at the exact same price, retailers will still expect them to be different ISBNs. Question number 3 is, what happens if you make changes to your book after publication? Do you need to get a new ISBN issued? Well, again, going back to our basic principle, the effective question here is, do those changes turn your book into a different product? Fixing typos or typesetting errors like formatting or layouting do not make it a different product. If anything, they're making your book the product it was supposed to be to begin with. Making meaningful changes to the text of the book does make it a different product. Now, in fiction, that is pretty rare to change the actual story. What's much more likely to happen is adding or removing additional material. This can be things like illustration, a foreword, a teaser of your next book, that kind of thing. Changing the recommended retail price of your book does not make it a different product. If you just think about going to a grocery store, the price of a can of soda can fluctuate from day to day, but it doesn't change the barcode on the can. Similarly, this may be a bit surprising, but changing the cover art of your book does not make it a different product. Again, going back to the grocery store analogy, soft drinks and cereals change their packaging designs all the time, but the grocery store isn't going to care if the mascot is looking to the left or to the right. To them, it's going to be the same product with the same barcode. On the other hand, changing the title of your book does require a new ISBN. This is one of the reasons why I was so pedantic about the distinction between products and storekeeping units, because you could argue that the title is just part of the packaging, but in the store's inventory, it is going to be a different entry. And then lastly, one very esoteric case that does require a new ISBN is changing the publisher. This is how you can end up with seemingly identical editions with different ISBNs. For example, if you release your book as a self-published author, and then later on you sign with a publisher who re-releases your book under their own label, that is going to be a new ISBN because retailers need to know who is responsible for manufacturing and distributing a certain product. Okay, so we've covered if you need an ISBN, how many different ISBNs you need at launch, when you need to get a new ISBN if you make changes. The final question is, what happens if you just don't follow the rules? What if you release all the different editions with the same ISBN? What if you print one ISBN on the verso and a different one on the barcode? Well, like I said, ISBN is not a legal concept, so you're not going to get fined or prosecuted for it. The worst that can happen is that you create confusion in consumers or retailers who might then decide not to do business with you anymore. So the short answer is that the only person you can screw over is yourself, so it's better to try and follow the standards. All right, so we've covered the what and the when, so now let's talk about how you get an ISBN. The organization that is globally responsible for regulating and overseeing the distribution of ISBNs is the International ISBN Agency, which, yes, that does stand for International Standard Book Number Agency. They're the ones who write all the rules about what products are eligible for an ISBN and when they need to get one, including all the rules that I have been telling you up until now. If you're interested, you can find all these rules and more at their website on isbn-international.org. However, the International ISBN Agency is not responsible for assigning individual ISBNs to books. For that, publishers are expected to contact the National ISBN Agency of the country where they are registered. To do this, you can go to isbn-international.org/agencies, find your country of residence in the drop-down menu, and then that will give you all the contact details of your local ISBN agency, including their website, which is where you will most likely find the information on how to apply for an ISBN and whether you need to pay for it. Because once again, ISBN is not a legal concept, it is not covered by any kind of international treaty, so national agencies can do pretty much what they want. Now, as a footnote, I will mention that certain self-publishing platforms like Amazon KDP will offer to assign your book an ISBN free of charge. And if you live in a country whose agency charges by the number, this can be very tempting. The only caveat here is that the ISBN assigned by Amazon will legally belong to Amazon and not you. This does not give them any kind of ownership or copyright over your book. It just means that you are not allowed to use that same ISBN on a different publishing platform without Amazon's permission, which they will obviously never give you. And that about covers it. So what do you think? Was any of that useful? Was there something I missed? Was there something I should have talked more about? If you still have lingering questions, I encourage you to check out the International ISBN Agency's website or just leave it in the comments below. And until next time, stay tuned.